Hi there, and welcome back to St. Thomas Aquinas for Everyone. I'm Dave Palmer, and we are continuing on the treatise on man, human nature. Very, very important part of the Summa, because if you don't understand man, if you don't understand our nature, then the Summa really isn't going to make any sense, and it's really going to be kind of pointless in the first place, because the whole Summa is about us returning to God. We have to understand his nature, and we, of course, have to understand our nature as well. So this is a very important and I think very interesting part of the Summa. So let's get right to it. And Thomas starts off by asking the question whether besides the intellectual soul there are in man other souls essentially different from one another. Now what he's getting at here is we are more than intellect. We're more than just our rational soul. There's other things that are controlled by our soul, and what exactly are those? And that's what this video is really going to be about. Here's a picture of a man. Okay, he's clearly he's thinking, he's pensive, he's using his intellect and perhaps his will, right? But he's also drinking a glass of wine. He's probably moving around, so there are various parts of his soul that are being utilized right now. And that's what Thomas is getting at here. And he says, we must therefore conclude that in man, the sensitive soul, the intellectual soul, and the nutritive soul are numerically one soul. This can easily be explained if we consider the difference of species and forms, for we observe that the species and forms of things differ from one another as the perfect and imperfect. Okay, you look around and you see a lot of creatures in the world, and some of them are more perfect than others. I don't think anybody really thinks that an earthworm is the same as a dog, or a human being the same as a scorpion or a slug. There's a gradation of creatures, right? Okay, so the animate are more perfect than the inanimate. Okay, the bird is more perfect than a rock. Okay, that's what he's getting at here. Animals are more perfect than plants, and man more than brute animals. And in each of these genera there are various degrees. Thus, the intellectual soul contains virtually whatever belongs to the sensitive soul of brute animals. All right, so remember in the last video we said that Thomas Aquinas definitely puts a soul in plants. All right, they have what he would call nutritive souls. Okay, there's things going on, there's movement within them. Okay, they may not move around like we do, but there is movement within them. They are alive. Okay, a plant can die, right? Then there's also animals that have sensitive souls. That means they can feel pain, they can see, they can smell, they can touch. Okay, a cat would certainly be in that category. And then we have the human being that has the nutritive soul, has the sensitive soul, but also has the rational intellectual soul as well. Thus, the intellectual soul contains virtually whatever belongs to the sensitive soul of brute animals and to the nutritive soul of the plants. Okay, so we have it all. So neither is Socrates a man by one soul, an animal by another, but by one and the same soul. He is both animal and man. Okay, we don't have three souls, we have one soul, but it contains all those different parts that are also found in other souls. All right, whether the intellectual soul is properly united to such a body. Okay, now here's a big group of people, and they share human nature, and so they have intellectual souls, every single one of them, which means that they have reason, they have will, but each one of them, of course, is different. They have a different suppositum, a different hypostasis, but they share human nature, unlike the angels that all have individual species, which is very kind of interesting. Thomas says the intellectual soul in the order of nature holds the lowest place among the intellectual substances. Okay, he's comparing us to angels here and saying we are lower than the angels, inasmuch as it is not naturally gifted with the knowledge of truth. Okay, remember, the angels have innate species. When they're created, they just know things, and we don't. We have to experience them, right? As the angels are, but has to gather knowledge from individual things by way of the senses, as Dionysius says. But nature never fails in necessary things. That's a really important line in the Summa. Thomas uses it a lot. When a creature needs something in order to fulfill its purpose, God gives it to them. Okay, so an intellectual soul needs a body. Okay, that's just the way that they're created. It needs a body here on earth in order to come to know things, right? Therefore, the intellectual soul had to be endowed not only with the power of understanding, but also with the power of feeling. Now, the action of the senses is not performed without a corporeal instrument, which is a body, right? Therefore, it behooved the intellectual soul to be united to a body fitted to be a convenient organ of sense. All right, we are a composite of body and soul, and when you take one away from the other, we're no longer a human being. So here are those people again, kind of shrunk down a little bit, and then we have also an angel. And let's say both are to come to know what a horse is. Okay, horseness, the form of a horse, the innate species. We have to see a horse. We have to experience a horse. We have to touch it, see it. Okay, then we can say, oh, okay, that's a horse. An angel is created, and they already know horseness. Okay, that's an innate species. They don't have to experience a horse in order to understand horseness, and that's what Thomas is getting at. Okay, are there to be distinguished 5 genera of powers of the soul? So what are the 5 powers of the soul? Here's a lady who's running. She's pretty much exercising all the powers of her soul. She's thinking, she's sensing, okay, there's things going on, her vegetative soul. So let's go into it. Her vegetative soul would mean that the blood is circulating. She has air running through her. All of her systems, circulatory, respiratory, excretory, they're all working without her, free will. Like she doesn't have to voluntarily do that. It just happens, okay, like in a plant. That's the vegetative soul. The sensitive soul means that she's seeing and smelling and hearing and touching. Okay, she has senses, unlike the plant that does not have senses. They don't feel pain. She does. Okay, she has a rational soul. She can understand things. She has an intellect. She has a will, and then she also has an appetite, both a sensitive appetite. She wants food, she wants sleep. She also may want to graduate from college. She may want to meet a great man to marry. This is all part of the will. And finally, the locomotive, okay? And that means she can move. She can move about. Okay, plants don't move typically. They may move in the wind, but she moves about. So these are the 5 genera of powers of the soul. And now you have a better understanding of what the human soul is all about. All right? A few more videos on human nature. The next one is really interesting. We're going to talk about the passive and active intellect and how we come to know corporeal things. And it's really one of my favorite parts of the Summa. Okay, thanks for watching. I'm Dave Palmer. This is St. Thomas Aquinas for everyone. God bless you.